Tools in the truck bed packed up to head to the junkyard. This is going to be fun. What's up, guys? So this morning I'm heading over to the junkyard on the west side of the river, the West Bank as we call it over here in New Orleans, and I'm going to go grab some bracketry from an S10 Blazer rear end. And what I'm going to be doing with this bracketry is using it to convert from drum brakes to the much more reliable disc brakes on the rear end of my El Camino that I have right now, my 78 that I'm putting together. So in addition to that, I'm probably also going to grab some brackets from an F-body rear end to use on another build. But I'll try to show you guys some stuff out there that you can use to get these rear end disc brake swaps done on the cheap. Blazers are pretty plentiful out there, I'd say myself, and F-bodies are as well. So the parts to get these take you not too much time and effort and save you some money in the long run. So that's what I'm on my way to do this morning, so off I go. I've arrived at the pull apart. Let's go get what we need to get and try not to tarry around, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to find something I'm not supposed to buy that I'm going to buy. We have the only actual rolling wheelbarrow, so now let's go conquer the wasteland and hope our spoils haven't already been found. Let's go. So we arrived in row 106. I'm actually going to be using some brackets I found off of this thing for my actual Firebird at my shop, my Trans Am. And this rear end hasn't been touched yet, guys. So I'm about to get back in here and do my due diligence, because she's still all closed up in there and I kind of have a clean spot on the ground, so I'm going to make use of that while I got it. All right, let's get to work. So this is the rear disc brake setup. This will also swap over to a G-body, but I'm using this for another project. I'm not going to take any of these rotors or pads home. I'm going to buy new ones, but I'm going after this backing plate. This is just to demonstrate what the setup is going to look like when it replaces your drums. Now, the problem is that that's held in by the axles. The axles are held in by the C-clips. So what we're going to have to do now is go inside the rear end, remove the pin, remove the C-clips, slide the axles out, and we should be able to get access to these backing plates so we can take them home and get them cleaned up. All right, this is the axle. What we're going to have to do is get off this rear cover. And to do that, we actually have this crossbar on the suspension. As you guys can see, it's going to have to come out the way. So I'm going to loosen this side up, remove the bolt, loosen on the other side, and it should swing out the way and give us access to all the cover bolts. That worked out really well. And as you can see, we have it down and we can get all of our cover bolts. Making quick work of it, I'm going to use my 3/8 impact. So I'm just going to zip these bolts out. If you guys need to save them, save them. But I'm going to get these out the way, and I'm going to go ahead and figure out a way to actually pry off this cover. Luckily, I remembered that I bought my pry bar with me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my pry bar and pry this thing off. But yeah, so far we're pretty much there, guys. The hardest part is done. So now we're going to let this drain. And here's our gears. So our next thing is to finally rotate this around, because there's going to be a pin in there. And one side of the pin has a bolt that will actually allow us to slide the pin out of there. So I'm just going to rotate it around, I'm almost lined up where I can get it to clear and just slide out. And a couple more pries and I look like I got it. So let's get that 8mm out of there. And in my experience, these pins always just slide out. So, perfect. So that is a C-clip. Let me point to it. That's a C-clip. That, as scary as it is the only thing that holds your axle in. And here's the clip from the other side. So we're going to get those out of there and slide these axles out. But as you see, all you have to do is push in slightly on the axle, and you can use a magnet or a pick to get them out. There we go. Have both the C-clips here. Now we can focus on getting the axles out. At this point, they should slide out if we remove the hardware from the end, meaning the caliper mounting bracket, the caliper itself, and the rotor. And then we should be able to slide the axle out and take our backing plate. Now this backing plate's only going to cost me $11 each, so I'm leaving here with $22 spent. Now we're over to the Blazer. Now, as you see the front knuckles missing, someone took the whole thing, but I'll tell you about that in another one. Basically, the front and back suspension of these 98 through 04 Blazers and S10s will swap over to the El Camino, upgrading the front to dual piston and the back from drum to disc. So as you can see, I'm back here at the S10 Blazer, and we have basically the same setup going on here with those 4 bolts. So I'm basically going to do the same thing I just did to the F body. Take off the back cover, take out the 8mm for the pin. I'm going to rotate it around, slide the pin out, slide the axles out, and I'm just taking the backing plate out of this one. So I'm going to get into that right quick. Okay, so I'm going to lay down some nice matting for me. So I just went ahead and looked for some carpets from the other cars around. And I already went ahead and zipped these bolts out. There's no suspension part in the way on the S10 or Blazer. So I'm going to go ahead and just rip this cover off. But I have to take this other tire off. I'm going to show you guys how to do it on the side that the tire is missing on. That way you can just repeat it for the other side. We can keep this video kind of timely. But I'm just letting all the fluid out. I have to be careful. It's blowing in the wind. And here we go. So we're going to repeat the same process, guys. We have our bolt and our pin. Loosen up that number 8. Pin should come out fairly easy. Didn't slide out, but now we have our C-clips. So I'm going to show you guys here exactly how hard you have to press on the axle to get it out, which isn't hard at all. Okay. Here, I'm going to push it in and just show you guys. I'm literally doing this with my toes because I'm only here by myself. So you see it's in. Here's my toe on the front of the axle. I push on the face with my toe. Oh, and that one actually just fell clean out of there. All right, so now that I have that out of there, all this other stuff on the end of this axle just happened to already be removed. Axle's out. And now we have to zip out these 4 bolts with my impact. Here's the nuts on the back. Don't forget those guys. Nuts are out. Wasn't so bad on this one. A lot of times they stick, but this one they just pop right off. And you're also going to have to figure out a way to disconnect your e-brake. I just use a screwdriver and a channel lock, and it just kind of pries it right off of there and out the hole. So yeah, this is just something I wanted to show you guys. This will actually go on pretty much any 7.5 or 8.5 rear end. And you could also drill the holes on some that don't have the holes drilled on for the backing plate. But this will more than likely work on any 7.5 that you have. But you will also have to use the rotors and pads and calipers from the S10. Here's a front set of knuckles I wanted to show you since the one in the Junkyard didn't have any on it. This one came from a gentleman I got from Marketplace. And I bought both assemblies for $100 complete. So all in all, I'm $120 into this so far. Yes, I know I have to buy calipers and pads and rotors for the rear. But I found those for about $100 altogether online. So I'm about $220, $220 into this whole thing so far for a front and rear disc brake conversion on my G body. And again, both of these setups from the F body and the S10 Blazer will work on any 7.5 or 8.5 rear end. So I think now what I'm actually going to focus on is getting everything cleaned up to put back onto the El Camino. I don't know if I'm going to paint some of these parts. I don't know if I'm going to use some of this stuff as an opportunity to practice powder coating, but I'm going to have to figure that out for my next video. But we will be putting these parts on the El Camino and showing you guys how it works out. Thanks for letting me share something with you guys today. Have a good one.